Let's try and use this animate CSS in a little different way. So we're going to be using like an animation builder. So we're going to be using the TS scripts a little bit more to help us build things through our HTML. So open up your home.ts file. This is really quite, there's not a lot of code in here yet. I can zoom in, there we go. We need to add a little bit more for this so we can start doing things. So first off, go to where it says constructor, and just after the nav control here, we're going to add a little bit more. So do a comma and type in, sorry, animation service, there we go. And this is kind of what we want to use, and the type of this is what we call animation service with a capital. There we go. And if you hit enter, it should import it up here like you've seen before. And that's kind of the first thing we need to do in our case. So now the constructor, what we're going to be using to build our animation, is now ready to use these things. Inside our constructor, we are going to type this so it knows it's inside this, and we're going to be calling our animator here. And this will actually help us start creating these small different animations that we're going to be doing a little bit later in the video. But set this equal to or assign animation service and this one called builder. You can see it's already trying to help you with creating this here. So this is what your code needs to look like once you're done with typing this into your constructor here. So having added the animation service, having added the type, which type it is, having it imported up here, setting the animator to the animation service builder so it's ready to be used in a moment. Whoa, what did just happen? Sorry. As you can see, there's a red line below our animator here. It's because we need to create or declare our variable up here so it knows what it is. So let's just go up here and type private and animator like before, and we're gonna set it to the type of animation. If I can, animation builder, there we go. And right now this is red, so let's get this imported up here. Oops. There we go. So now it's imported to animation builder. Make sure you have this up here. That's the next part. So make sure this needs to be purple. In my screen it might be blue depending on your theme, but right now you should not have any red lines beneath any of your code if you wrote it just like I did here. So that's one of the things we need to do. The point of this also is to make us able to hit an element in our HTML, kind of like we did with JavaScript when we did the get element by ID. So we're looking for an ID in our HTML page for the JavaScript to hit. So we're going to do something similar, and in Ionic and Angular we're going to use the view child. If I can actually spell it correctly, it's with a capital view. There we go. So we're going to be using the view child. And inside the view child, we're going to use like single apostrophes and the element that we want to hit. So let's go with my element. And after this, we're just going to assign my element in this case. And this is what we're going to be using to like target that specific area so we can use our newly created animations that we'll be using in a little while. Cool. So last part is for now, we need to create a function. So once the element that we want to kind of do things with, just like we did in JavaScript. So we're going to use a function name to hit somewhere and do whatever animation we want. So we're going to create a function called animate element. That's kind of the function's name that we want to use. And remember, function has a parentheses and these curly brackets here. And remember to create this outside the constructor. So the constructor starts here and ends here, and the animation starts here and ends here, but is still inside the home page up here. Make sure you have that correct, because if you don't, then it won't work. And maybe even Ionic won't run at all. Sorry for that. But anyways, let's go continue here. So we're still going to use like this animator, because this is kind of the style we've been using up here. So we're going to copy that way to use the animation. So this animator, same down here, and the animation service builder is kind of like we did with our home in here, where we did the type bounds and duration and everything. It's kind of being structured so we can use the same things up here. So that's the reason why it's being written like it is. So the animator, sorry, we didn't want to assign anything. We're going to use set type. So let's hope, there we go. So set type, that would be kind of the, if it's doing the bounce or flip or whatever, bounce, I can't even spell. So we're setting it to do bounce, and we're going to show this in a specific element. So this, what was it called? It was called my elim up there. Oh, it's right there. So my elim, that's where it's going to go to, and this is a native element here. So, and it's a native element because we're using the Cordova or for phones and everything. So it's meant to be for phones specifically, of course. So let's click save. Let's see if you have any errors before we continue with the HTML part of this. So let's go back here, refresh. Ooh, still works. So we haven't destroyed anything as of yet. But this is, first of all, the, let's just go through it really quick again before we go into the HTML in the next video. We added the element builder, the element animation service to our constructor here with the type of animation service. So it's imported up here. Important, really important to import. Haha. And then we did a kind of, we structured how we want to write our code going forward by setting this animator to the animation service and the builder. Then we declared our variable that we're using here, the animator to a animation builder. Then we did our view child, which is kind of similar to get element by ID, but that's just the Ionic and Angular way of doing it. We assigned it to what element we want to use and a name to it. Then we created a function down here and set the type of bounce to show on this element once we, I think we're going to do a click event. So show this once we do the click event of this. Cool, let's click save, and in the next video we're going to create the HTML that surrounds this. Oh, sorry.